Hello. Today I want to discuss, rather briefly, but off-grid communities and the importance of interpersonal relationships. Now, from my observations, there does seem to be two main potential barriers to creating off-grid communities. One being resources. People usually think of things like money to get the project started, but the other one is not necessarily an issue just from the start, but can be a continuing potential issue. And I say potential because one can create a different story. It's completely up to you. But that is the continuation of the interpersonal relationships within the off-grid community. And obviously that can expand out to the interpersonal relationships of the off-grid community with the sort of immediate environment and other organisations that surround the community. You know, I'm sure you're aware of the importance of interpersonal relationships, especially when it comes to things like friends, family, business partners or co-workers, clients, community, right? The list goes on and on. You know, and obviously your personal relationship with yourself will, I wouldn't say dictate, but can definitely influence how your interpersonal relationships are. And that's why a lot of people will probably share the fact that the more you can work on your personal relationship with yourself, it can, I'm not saying it will, but it can assist with the interpersonal relationships, so your relationships with those in the immediate environment. Obviously, things like social media has perpetuated somewhat unhealthy ways of communication with each other. And then it has also allowed for people to connect from much further sort of geographical locations. Like our ancestors would have done that through different forms of technology, which I would call more internal technology, and some of us are still able to use that. It is there, accessible for anyone to be able to use, and it just depends on whether the person is aware, one, two, would like to use it, and three, is able to use it. I'm not going to go too much into that. So yes, social media is a supposed external, internal, external. I do understand that everything is connected, but in regards to me communicating what it is that I feel I need to, I'm just going to use the terms like internal and external. So social media is supposed external technology, right, that helps us connect all over, should I say, the earth, especially when you're not using your own internal telepathic technology to communicate. And, so that has, it's restricting and expanding components to it. Obviously with the unhealthy habits it's creating, it can then lead us into further sort of a digression or a spiraling down of our communication skills and our relationship skills with ourselves and with supposed others, but also help obviously connect people that we may not have always been able to supposedly before, right? And when I start getting to things like regards to just law restrictions around relationships, right? Like the way I see law, we're talking human created law here. I'm not going to talk about universal, natural or LRE law, although this can apply to those areas. Law is all about relationship. It's all about governing relationship, right? So what's your relationship with your partner? What's your relationship with a particular organisation? What's your relationship with a particular state or nation, right? And so our supposed land rights and our supposed relationship rights, they can be potentially quite restricting, because all human created law that I have, observed so far is based in the vibration of fear. And as I'm sure some of you are aware, when something is based in the vibration of fear, it can be quite restricting in regards to the process and the outcome that that is used with that that law because of it being based in fear. To put it bluntly, I could go into that all in itself, and maybe I'll do a whole video discussing that further in another day. And of course, it being in the vibration of fear, that's usually because of, the collective, but also our own individual sort of traumas and fears. So, until we spiral out of that phase, the law will continue to be sort of in that vibration of fear. And obviously, it's not always the most helpful tool in regards to how do we govern interpersonal relationships with off-grid communities. It can help, but I'm also saying it's not always the only way and the only platform on which one can use. Obviously, if you want to take it to a court of law, then potentially that may be the only way that you can create, I guess, a governing system for your interpersonal relationships. But that in itself has another whole kind of vibration of going into creating this off-grid community in the vibration of fear, and oh my God, something really terrible is going to happen, therefore we must go this way and this is the only way to do it. And I guess what I wanted to share is some of the ways which can obviously help and assist with creating good interpersonal relationships in regards to, off-grid community. Obviously this can apply to other situations as well, but, the main, very easy one to see is consistent communication, right? People are always changing from moment to moment, therefore consistent communication is a good way to engage. Well, where is that person now? Yesterday they were like this, today they're feeling this. It's just a really good way, that consistent communication, and it also may also help them with their relationship to you. And then another way is also obviously potentially creating a social system that's going to work best for what it is that you're trying to achieve with the off-grid community. Now, obviously I'm not going to be sharing any details around the consistent communication or the social systems that you could create. That's really up to you, and I cannot guide every single one in this video, because there's such a multidimensionality of everything, right? And there's so many communities, just like there is so many different types of people, but yet we're all from the one. Okay, I'm digressing if I go further into that, but I'm sure you're understanding what I'm meaning when I'm saying that. So you are the one that has to look into that further. And I guess coming back to what I said earlier, what is your personal relationship with yourself? The more you feel expanded in your relationship with yourself, then potentially the more expanded others will feel in their relationship with you. I prefer using the word expanding and contracting to positive and negative, because it can have, I guess, connotations with it, meaning like one is bad and one is good. That's not necessarily the case. Constriction has its place in nature just as much as it does in our own lives. Excuse the airline noise if you can hear that while you're listening. So, yeah, always comes back to your personal relationship with yourself. That is the root, right? Then it's the consistent communication, and it's also creating that social system that's going to work for you. Well, not just for you, obviously, because it's about the community that you're creating. I'm interested to know if you've got anything that you want to share, maybe through your own experience of creating off-grid communities. And yeah, that I guess one of the main reasons I'm sharing this is my partner and I, we do run an off-grid community, I guess, Facebook group. There's a lot of members out there that are just getting into learning about off-grid communities, or just even off-grid living themselves, right? And some want to do it just sort of in their own family basis, which is really beautiful, and some want to do it on a, I guess you consider maybe a bit of a larger scale in regards to getting other families, not just theirs, involved in the community that they want to create. And again, I cannot say what is one, if one is better than the other, because one will be good for one person and one may be better for another. So that's the whole fun in life. There's just so much potentiality. And I'm sure you're all observing how we can all have such a variety of perspectives, yet it all comes back to one. The fun of it all. So I'm going to leave that there, and I will see you in the next vlog.